Hey everybody, so this is Mama Bjork's Tarot over here, and we're going to be doing a podcast. I want to welcome everyone for your likes, subscribes, and your shares. I'm interviewing on spirituality, and I'm interviewing a very close friend, my soul sister from another mother, Rochelle. And in this, we're going to be talking about her experiencing her own way of spirituality, how everything that she experienced and what she went through as hoping that maybe when you guys hear upon this and look upon this, maybe this will help guide you guys to the right stepping stones towards it. So here I have Rochelle. Hello, Rochelle. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. It is a pleasure. Thank
hmm
you for
hmm
everything that you're doing. Being a part of my soul tribe and my soul family. This is a very good topic and a very deep topic that I hold dear to me because I really truly feel everybody goes through their own spiritual awakening, their own kundalini awakening, their own time, their own phases, courses, almost in if a way to teach us what we need to learn, that we can be the best versions of ourselves. So when I talk about spirituality, I don't try to force anybody to believe anything. Everybody's entitled to their own belief. Everybody has whatever they believe in, whether that's God or angels or life after death or reincarnation or and other gods, other traditions, other you could be from multiple places throughout the whole world and just believe in different gods even. Okay, so I'm not one to sit here and talk about religions or what you believe in. But when I talk about spirituality, it runs deep to me because I have went through many processes within myself, my life, that did change me in a way where I was forced into my awakening. You can't recall when it's going to happen. Sometimes you're not supposed to know when it happens. It's beautiful because it actually transcends me into what I never thought I could eventually become. I am now,
If I have a
which is the
question for you,
beautiful. Absolutely.
what got you into spirituality? What made you go into those stepping stones to actually see through it? And if anyone who is an outsider looking from in, like what would you give them and that advice as well? Because for me, when I went into spirituality, it was my version was different as I was kind of closed off. I had a mentor, a Siobhan, who basically awakened it for me, and it was a very powerful experience in my end, and kind of a bit overwhelming from what I went through. And she was a good mentor too, and she taught me the ways of um, to like spirituality is practicality. Meditation is almost like it kind of gets you ready for life after in a way. Would you agree with that? Meditation
Yeah,
does.
in when you're talking specifically about meditation, I think meditation is a tool that we can utilize during our spiritual awakening or even before a spiritual awakening or even throughout our life. It doesn't even necessarily need to be a spiritual awakening in itself, but more so it's one of those additional tools where you can ground yourself. Meditation is good to center yourself, um, also to raise your vibration. People can utilize the meditations for healing too, because maybe there's certain aspects of ourselves that need to be healed, and then it helps bring things to the surface. But also, meditation runs deeper than that because you can get in touch with um, different astral planes too. You can connect with your angels and your spirit guides. You can go within and get answers that you've been longing for, that you need to seek clarity on. So for me, meditation has been utilized in multiple different aspects for me. Then I can continuously use that. But it's good to spread awareness because not a lot of people know what meditation is or how you can use that. But going back to your first initial question, like what led me to my spiritual
Mhm.
awakening.
Mhm.
For me, it was like trauma, and things that I experienced through my life that kind of forcefully led me into my spiritual awakening, because there's certain stages, right, with spirituality. So when I went through the traumatic experiences, I would say as a child, I experienced things at a very young age, some things that people probably shouldn't experience. And then transitioning into my teenage years and then my adult life, the trauma didn't really stop, it was kind of up and down for me. The trauma that I experienced happened in various ways. Okay, there was times where I was homeless. I was sleeping out of my car. I was jobless. I also had my kids. That definitely changed my life. But everything was a learning experience for me. That the pain and the suffering, and sometimes even abuse that I experienced led me into my spirituality without even me knowing that it was going to come. And I was starting to see synchronicities, or in a dream state. Not even in a dream state, it was a combination of things that I would experience that was an opening sign that this is my path. So I more so I didn't even know I was going down that path, so to say. It found me, and I spread my awareness, and then I just found myself within it and not even stopping the process. Sometimes if we just let ourselves go and trust the process and let it flow, then those stages start running its course. And with spirituality, it's different for everybody. For me, it was I had to learn those lessons. I had to overcome those burdens. I had to go through a healing process. I had to face the dark night of the soul, and the shadow side of my aspect of myself. Because if I didn't face the shadow aspect of myself, how could I fully heal? How could I actually tap into my gifts? Because and not a lot of people know this about me, but I've always been spiritually gifted and also psychically gifted. Those are two different things, and I can go on a tangent. But I couldn't fully tap into my gifts if I didn't heal, if I didn't overcome addiction and abuse and trauma. Because without that, it's
Right.
blocking me from experiencing all sides of a spiritual awakening and just spirituality in general, and a Kundalini awakening, because I've been through both. But being able to spread that awareness is definitely signs. They say you can, people that have a tendency of going through some type of life changing events, and for me it was multiple. That's
Right.
to kind of get you ready for your awakening process. But being able to identify as a spiritual person, some people don't even know where to begin. They don't know enough about it. And there's no really specific way of adapting to that process. You find your own process. You align with your own spirituality. So for me, it's utilizing, there's a combination. So after I went through my spiritual awakening, I was able to spread awareness to others around me. I was able to give guidance. I was able to utilize my gifts, my psychic gifts, to help and assist others around me. I was able to, I've actually picked up my very first tarot deck probably back in 2007. And ever since then, I was able to utilize tarot as a tool. Not everybody utilizes tarot, but that's exactly what I started to do. I was able to read intuitively. I was able to tap into um, just aspects of myself that I didn't even know existed, like such as astral traveling, being able to lucid dream, picking up messages and visions through my dream state and my lucid dreaming experiences, astral traveling experiences. I was able to in contact with my spirit guides and my loved ones and my angels and identify what it is that they were trying to guide me and protect me with. But it was so many different levels to that. Spirituality led me to that spiritual awakening. That's when everything started to click and to fall into place.
Right.
Being a light worker and healer, we are helping
Mm.
raise the vibration of the planet and help spread the awareness of how beneficial that can be to people's lives, and help give that guidance and how they can actually tap into. I personally believe everybody is gifted. I like to think that
I believe
people,
that
if
too.
they, yeah, absolutely, I feel like it's like a muscle. If you think about being clairvoyant, claircognate, clairsentient, clairaudient, there's other, and when I use these terms, these are psychic abilities that people have. Okay, has to do with seeing and hearing and feeling. Specific gifts. If people just knew how to tap into that, they can utilize that in their everyday lives, and it's like a muscle. The more you strengthen that muscle, the more you're able to have that be stronger as time progresses. And I feel like actually, when I was a kid going through the things that I experienced, and in my adult life and my teenage life, I couldn't possibly have tapped into my gifts to their fullest capacity if I didn't go through the learning experiences and overcoming my challenges and going through my healing process. If I did not allow myself to my shadow side when I got older and accomplish all of the deepest, darkest times in my life. They say that when Saturn was in to astrology, if anybody's an Aries out there, because I'm an Aries sun, I'm a Leo rising, I'm an Aquarius moon. People that had Saturn placement in their birth chart, Saturn was in transit for me for 5 years. Okay. That's also played a significant role in my astrology. Saturn is the planet that's like the father planet of lessons learned. Saturn doesn't play around when it comes to lessons learned. He's going to give it to you hard, and he's going to make sure that you have learned those lessons. People know about their Saturn return. When Saturn return comes back around, it's almost as if Saturn is saying, hey, have you learned your lessons? Are you sure you learned your lessons? That's why I'm back. That's Saturn's way of saying, okay, then my job is done. So for all the poor Aries out there who actually had Saturn in their birth chart for 5+ years, because that's how long it takes for Saturn to leave. Oh, props to all of us, because that was a very hard transition to experience. That's why I probably made it past my Kundalini awakening, which is like leveling up in multiple different ways.
Mm.
One thing that I really like touching on is whatever your background is, wherever you come from, whatever you feel you're drawn to when it comes to spirituality, follow it. Sometimes asking other people around you is not always the best thing, right? You have to find out what works best for you. Are you one of those people who love to meditate? Okay. Are you one of those people that like to cleanse and clear your space so that you can go through your everyday life being grounded and focused and driven? And when I say clearing and cleansing, meaning, do you use sage? Do you use Palo Santo? Do you use herbs and spices, frankincense? Do you meditate? Do you utilize crystals? Or do you listen to high vibrational music? I mean, there's a multitude of different things, right? So whatever's working for you on your spiritual path and your journey, that's what you should follow. When you find your soul tribe and your soul family, those are the individuals that are going to uplift you. Those are the individuals that should be guiding you. Those are the people that are going to speak highly of you.
I
And
agree.
yeah, and I honestly feel that when we start adapting to the first stages of our spiritual awakening, it ends up being one of those things where people start popping up in your life as it's unexplainable. I always feel that people pop up in our lives through our spiritual awakening for reasons. Either they're meant to teach us some lessons that we have not learned, or it will help bring some type of maybe important key factors to our attention that we need to utilize, that we don't even need, that we may not even understand at that particular point in time, until we fully understand that our soul tribe and our soul family and align us in our life's purpose, and help shift our once way of thinking into a bigger capacity, because we're all connected, right? Our energy fields are all connected. So thinking about how can you raise people's vibration? How could you spread spirituality in a way that it makes sense? How can you help others find their path and align with their purpose, their life's purpose, and their life's blueprint? Us light workers and us healers out here signed up for that. We are helping others around us. We're giving them guidance. We're trying to guide them selflessly on their path journey. So
I
it's
agree.
just like an intro of what I feel.
I
Um,
mean, if I remember right, I had went through a lot of trauma growing up as a child, and those were a lot of repressed emotions. And I did repress a lot of gifts I had, a lot of abilities, a lot of things I had to repress away because I don't want to be used. And there was a point where my mentor was like, "Well, you gotta have to release everything to go fully into your spiritual awakening." When she told me this, I was like, "I don't know about that. I don't think I want to open all that, all that kind of whoop ass. And I don't want to do that. I don't want to really look at it." And she goes, "Well, you're gonna have to look at it." So when she helped me with it, I had to go within and remember everything, everything that's ever happened to me, everything. And she says, the one thing you better go do is forgive, because you got to heal for you to
okay.
actually fully go into your spiritual awakening. She says, you're only like 45% there. Download not complete. And she says, once you do it, you're going to feel different. When I had to remember everything from past trauma, from being young and from being a teenager, and going from a young adult to being kicked out of my home and sleeping in a car for a while till I got an apartment, I had to forgive a lot. Yeah, I used to be homeless too for a bit. I understand that struggle as well, but I had to forgive it. I had to forgive a lot of stuff. I had to forgive and let go of these repressed emotions to go on into the next journey of my life. And she says, once you do it, you feel good about it, and you'll awaken a little bit, a little bit more higher than you would expect. Man, that was a trip, but it was totally hip, and I actually liked it.
And that's really good that you had that guidance to kind of direct you.
Hmm.
Which I believe us light workers and healers, that's exactly why we were put here, to help others with their process, going and being able to adapt to those changes and what direction to take, what path to take. Some might even be scared to open up about their interest in spirituality. Some might be hiding in a spiritual closet. And it's funny that I'm using that as an example, because that's exactly how I felt. I was dimming my light. I didn't want anybody to know that I had gifts, because I was too scared that I was going to be judged. Right? So sometimes it's good to have people around you, such as your soul tribe, family, to help you through that whole process. But with me, I had to literally find out myself. And then that's when people started to pop up in my life unexpectedly, that are now part of my soul family. I know will um, unconditionally care and assist me through any process. If I can give the same type of guidance, the same type of direction to many people around us. I think that is really good that you had that assistance.
I did. When she told me who I was and what I'm supposed to be doing, light worker, healer, um, I was like, girl, what? And she goes, yeah, that's who you're. That's what you are. You always help people. Of course, I've helped people. You know. And after when she told me that, she's like, well, your life purpose is to help and guide and help people, show them where to go. And then here I am. But it was a stepping stone because there were people who will even betray you too. And
Absolutely.
she said, look out for that. Learn from that. People who aren't who they seem they are. People who hide behind a mask. People who are what they are and will never realize it. But of course, you can't tell them that because they'll deny it, she says. But the best thing you do is to love yourself, forgive it, and then let it go and follow your own path again. It
Yeah.
was eh, you will notice in your spiritual journey is that you'll come through a lot of people. Either they stay or they go. And either who you help or who you become friends with. She says that kind of shows you a lot too. And it makes you think really hard about it. When we talk about light workers and healers, when we talk about who we are very kind and peaceful people. We're humble, but we also forgive. A light worker isn't somebody who isn't the opposite, and we're not supposed to be the opposite. We're not supposed to be petty, um, be vengeful, very spiteful. That's not a light worker. What is a light worker to you, Rochelle?
So the purpose of a light worker is to wake up people around us and help shift the vibration and raise the vibration of the planet. Light workers can have many jobs, many roles, different personalities. What they all have in common is they know the divine spirit. They're able to connect with the divine. They know how to um, help the separation gap that is actually in place as has been going on. They know how to take that gap and bridge that gap because some people, and the veil is being lifted, so it's very thin at this point, and people are closed off to the idea of spirituality and the background definition of spirituality because people don't. And again, I'm not one to try to make people believe. You are entitled to whatever you want to believe, but when I talk about what I feel a light worker does, they help shift the vibration of the planet. They helped bridge the gap between this world to divinity, to spirituality. We have different roles. We are spiritual beings. We are having a physical experience in our spiritual body. Okay. Um, we are gatekeepers. We are grid workers. We're divine light keepers. We're healers. Um, divine blueprint holders, dreamers, messengers. So we have all different types of roles, and we're assigned these specific roles before we even come here. This has been laid out into our blueprint from what we signed up for, whether it's assisting children, whether it's being a healer, or helping in a collective capacity when you are helping other people heal. And So really just being able to assist while we're here, while we're still here. Our job and our role is to embody the light and the divinity and act as a vessel to spread the love and the light and the healing through this whole planet, and helping people align with their blueprint and following and using our power and our strengths, that people can find their whole worth and their purpose and their divinity and their processes. So I think about light workers, we have many, many, many roles. And that's and we're really limited. There's not a lot of us.
No, there is a few.
Healers, same thing. We really selflessly devote our time and our energy. We really fully, truly invest our time and our energy, and we literally heal people on many different levels in a way that people are closed-minded on. They may be shut off to spirituality. They may have never heard about it. They don't know what a light worker is. They don't know what a healer is. Yes, nobody said that it was easy to be a light worker and a healer. Okay. No one said it was easy to go through spiritual awakening or Kundalini awakening or both, because it really, truly is not rainbows and butterflies and beautiful and love light. No, it is dark. It can be very traumatic, like how I told you with my experiences, facing my dark shadow side. You have to go through that stage, because if you're going to be a light worker and a healer and you signed up for that prior to even coming here, those stages and those deepest, darkest times so that you can assist people with their deepest, darkest times. Would you want to go and speak to a counselor or a therapist who has, or somebody who, let's say you're going to rehab, would you be signing up for a program or for a therapist session? They have never experienced anything that you went through. Like maybe they've never even went through addiction, but yet you're trying to go to rehab for temporary purposes. And they have a motivational speaker there trying to explain their experiences with addiction. You wouldn't want to take them seriously, would you? Because they didn't have that experience. They've never had addiction problems. No, you're going to want to go to someone who's had that experiences, who went through those challenges, who's overcome those challenges, and now they're speaking and trying to help other people with similar backgrounds. Same thing with a light worker and a healer. We have went through a lot of similar experiences. So now that we can act as a teacher or a guide and a gatekeeper and a light worker and a healer and a messenger and a grid worker, like we're all here working to assist others and bridge the gap that it has been in place. That people are more aware of spirituality. They not even know what their role and their purpose is. And that's the beautiful part about it.
I agree.
Then there's all the little miscellaneous things that I absolutely love, right? Like how people are fascinated with, people always talk to me like I'm fascinated with crystals, not because of their beauty, but as their energy for cleansing, for protection, to clear your chakras and cleanse your chakra system. And you can use it for in a vortex of energy if you wanted to, depending on what you're utilizing, crystals. And that in itself is one thing that I love introducing to people, as well as smudging your space and clearing your space by burning herbs and spices. And such as sage, Palo Santo. You can utilize desert sage. There's all different types of things you can purchase. Frankincense. These things have been put on this earth for a reason. They grow from the earth. And I think I come from a long line of shamans, so this is probably why I'm passionate about it, right? So desert sage, your juniper, your cedar sage, your your blue sage. There's so many different types of herbs out there. Palo Santo, I mean, literally, when you think about it, we were meant to burn these things to cleanse and clear our space, but we don't really know how to do it sometimes. And I say that because people are just used to maybe burning it and just they don't put any intention in it. Being mindful and understanding that when you're burning herbs and spices and trying to cleanse and clear your space, that not only should you be setting your intention, also trying to know how to use it, right? So that's another beginning stage of maybe spirituality, that people are coming and they are aware of these things, they know about these things, but having somebody to help you through knowing how to utilize crystals or sage or Palo Santo or whatever it is, maybe it, Logan, I know you use some different, spices and herbs and
Of
such
course.
too. It really just, there's no specific one that you should use, so to say. You can use all of them. You can use a variety of them. Just know that they're here and they grow on this earth for a reason, right? Crystals are here for a reason, to protect us, to shield us, to raise our energy, to help cleanse us. And it's those things actually are really beneficial to utilize through any stage of your spiritual awakening or kundalini awakening or both. Okay, light workers and healers, we need them, right? We get drained. A lot of our energy goes into helping other people
It's
to the
very.
point where we are draining ourselves. Those things are really good tools to utilize, in my opinion. And we could do a whole nother podcast or just a whole nother talk about how what that looks like. How do you burn sage? What are the different tips and tricks that you do to cleanse and clear your space? How often do you do it? Where do you do it? Where do you even go to get this stuff? Is it real? Is it authentic? Or is it, because that's another thing that I'm passionate about. You want to make sure that you're getting, and this is where research is probably going to come in, need to come into play, because you might want to do a lot of research where you're getting your products from, even crystals, because if you don't want to end up getting something that's not real and not grown correctly,
I agree. And you're very
because that
passionate.
stuff is being utilized as energy.
Yeah, you're very passionate about what you do, as I am as well. Yeah. And what I do burn is like kind of the opposite from what you burn too. Like if we're doing resins, I like to grind up resins and make them into fine powder and burn them with my sage. And I am gonna probably get some juniper though, and
So you should, and you can share. You can me what I don't have that you have, and maybe I'll share of what I have that you want.
give me
So
all
we
your
can.
juniper. I want all your desert sage. I'm here to rob you blind. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
When
I forgot sweetgrass too.
oh
I'll give you some of
yeah,
that.
I remember my first tarot deck was not a traditional tarot deck. Actually, it was playing cards, but
Hmm.
it was different is because you can use playing cards. Some people prefer playing cards as tarot deck as well. You can basically. And I remember I was in high school when I was doing it, and I still have them. They're all on my I have variety, but I do have it in my drawer, and it's old. And I used to have small pictures of because I bought like an Arcana deck where you can actually just it's perfect sized for um the playing cards, and that used to be my first tarot deck. My official first tarot deck came from my sister-in-law, and it was gifted, and I still use it on my lives. I still use it. It's somewhere within the mountains of tarot decks I have. But if there was any other tarot deck that I don't want to use at the moment, I'd use that one because that one's old, and that's been with me for a very long time, and I appreciate that one a lot. As well as you have a pretty good tarot deck within your hand as when how much you use it. The wear and tear of it says a lot about it. It is an extension of yourself, though. It's a tool utilized to help you and help guide you. Helps tell the story better. Helps get a better like graphicness of what's going on. I remember it all too well. My first tarot sessions were at my school library because I used to work at the school library, and I used to
That's
like.
so funny.
It's funny because like I enjoyed it. It was fun because like I didn't know what I totally truly was, but I was accurate with everyone. And it was always the best was prom or Sadie Hawkins dances or homecoming dances. Oh, will Jamal take me as his girlfriend? Well, this person asked me, yeah, they ask you out. Yeah, definitely they ask you out. And I said, well, be warned, but like this person might just come in so quick and so easily, hot and cold.
Mm,
It was a different stepping stone.
definitely is one of those tools to utilize that. For me, it was different. I actually didn't even want people to know that I was utilizing tarot. It's kind of the same experience that I had with my gifts because I was too scared to be judged and I was too scared that people would kind of like, I don't know, make fun of me or try to say, I mean, it's just a multitude of different feelings that I was feeling. But so for me, when I got my first deck, like 2006, I think my daughter was just born. I just turned 18. Yeah, well, yeah, 2007. So my daughter would have been just born and I was 18. So yeah, I was a very young mother, very, very young mother. And I bought my first tarot deck, and it was, I wouldn't say it was traditional either. It was, well, it was a very unique deck. I think I even got it from Barnes and Noble. And I would just like shuffle, and I don't know why, but like it felt like I felt a sense of comfort, um, knowing that I was more curious with tarot for some reason. And I didn't do any readings for anybody. I was doing readings for myself and try to identify what the meanings were behind each card. And I found that I struggled, which is really weird because I have never, and throughout all of my life, have ever found myself more confident to be able to interpret tarot than now, more so. Because yes, it is a tool, but when you're gifted, the messages kind of run through your body and your mind in a way that's like intuitive. So for me, when I read cards, I whatever messages I feel the need to say in relation to the card that I pull is the actual meaning behind what I'm seeing in terms of the card, because the feelings, the emotions, and the messages that I'm hearing through my angels and my spirit guide are meant to also introduced alongside of the card that I'm looking at. So that's an impactful for me because not only do I have tarot as a tool, I'm also, it's like putting the little sprinkles on top of that tool to intensify the meaning, to elaborate on the meaning through your gifts, through your intuition, and through channeling messages through your angels and your spirit guides and whoever's coming through. That's also very good because sometimes people don't even know how to really what they're reading and how to read. But instead of focusing on that, let it flow. Whatever messages you're hearing, if you're not gifted, you work on the strengthening your gifts. And actually, I should post videos on how to do that. um, there are exercises of how you can do that so that you can strengthen all, because I truly believe everybody is gifted, they just don't know how to tap into it. Okay, it's like a muscle. Strengthen the muscle. That to me is something that is the sprinkle on top, right? When you're realizing tarot and delivering and relaying these messages in a way that's understandable for the person on the receiving end. I also tapping into your gifts, utilizing tarot as an added on addition. And That was just my experience. Like when I first got my first tarot deck, I didn't know what to expect.
When I
I
first
was gonna.
seen when I first seen mine, I didn't understand the pictures. Like, where are there pictures on this fucking deck? You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, what's up with the pictures? Sorry to cut you off.
Oh no, don't worry. Don't whatever you would like to say.
I'll have to say, no, I'm just kidding. I believe that like when I first started to understand it more, you get to make your own interpretations and feelings around what their meanings are for you, you know? And that's what I like about like reading the energies of the cards, but also going off on your intuition too as well and what you feel.
Absolutely. Because we don't know. Sometimes for me, channeled messages come through unexpectedly. I'm like, okay, hold on. Apparently, I'm supposed to say this. It's almost like my angels and spirit guides are poking at me. And hey, you're actually supposed to say this. They are supposed to hear this because this is the actual message that is going to resonate with them based off of their situation and what they're asking. Yes, you can utilize tarot. Here you go. Here's the cards. Anybody can shuffle and pull out the cards. Well, here they are, one by one. When you fully dive in deeper and you hear these messages come through, as you interpret these messages, the beautiful aspect of that is it's for me, I actually try to interpret it a storyline theme that interrelates to what needs to be said at that point in time through my gifts, which is a process in itself. When you put tarot and you utilize your psychic gifts into the mix, it's a really great experience. It's almost like you're getting a front row center of like a movie theme of what to expect, whatever it is that you're trying to get clarity on. Which is crazy because I've done that for myself too. And also found that there's a stopping point with it, which is kind of hard for me to explain because it's almost like if I try to do it for myself, there's eventually a stopping point to it because either I'm not supposed to know about something, right time to know it, or I just am going, I already know the answer. And for all three of those things. That's why I have to reach out to my soul tribe and my soul family to kind of get clarity on things.
Oh yeah,
Sometimes I do
definitely.
need to do that, because I can't really read for myself. I can't say that I can't read. Like I can read for myself, but there's a stopping point. Is what
Oh,
I'm trying to
oh
say.
yeah, there's times where I can't read for myself, and it's not well. There's like many reasons why people don't like reading for themselves, and sometimes people are a little bit biased too. They're like, I see a tower. I'm just gonna what people do this. I'm just gonna take the tower card and put it back in. That's never gonna happen. No, it's gonna
Oh,
happen. You know, people do it. They're a little biased against their reading a little bit. Um,
so true.
for me, it's like there's something that I know what's coming for me versus something I don't know what's coming after it. So I'm like, oh shit, I can pull out 1,000 cards for myself, which I've done before. I'm like, what am I missing? What am I missing? I have like, what am I missing? And I call my soul tribe. I go, Rochelle,
Inner reflection.
Rochelle, what
Yeah.
the fuck am I missing? What's going on, girl? Oh, the blind side, the blurred blinds. Like, what's going on? Oh, you're gonna get pregnant. Oh
Oh Lord.
Lord, you
No.
telling me I'm gonna get pregnant? That's impossible.
Oh,
And she goes, no, no, no.
watch the
So
Empress card pop up. Boom,
5
boom.
times over, like, oh, I'm gonna get pregnant, girl.
Oh no, but I really do appreciate that people are more open to that in the tarot community because back when like even thinking back to 2006, like that was how many years ago? What?
Damn,
Probably
2006.
over 12.
I was in middle school.
Trinity is what? Almost 13. So yeah, that 13 years ago, like tarot, I didn't know anybody that was doing tarot. I'm gonna be honest, like I'm sure there was people, but I didn't find my soul tribe back then. I still had a whole long set of lessons to learn. Didn't even probably face my shadow side at that time. Didn't even start my spiritual awakening. And with tarot, like I didn't know anybody to turn to. I didn't know, I felt uncomfortable. I remember keeping my tarot decks hidden in my closet so that like my parents wouldn't see, my like nobody would see it, because I was almost like embarrassed and ashamed to introduce that side to me,
Yeesh. I know that
because
one.
I'm like, oh, well, people are just too judgmental and quick to stereotype people. And now I feel like now it's a huge amount of quantity of people and individuals that are open to tarot, that they've actually used tarot, and they're more welcoming when it comes to using tarot or even talking about tarot, like, or oracles and like whatever it is that you like to use, because there's many versions of it, right? But
Oh, you could be an
me, I
oracle, right?
wasn't actively, I wasn't out there actively talking, oh, I gotta do tarot, and I
Yeah, you were trying
to,
to sell them
besides,
like Pokemon cards. You know, like, oh, you want to see my Pokemon cards? Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I choose you. Battle you right now. We're trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh. I remember the first time we started my channel. There was an ongoing joke I used to make where my best friend would go, "What are you, Yugi?" Like every time I brought my cards out, "What is Yugi doing? Yugi, what you doing, Yugi?" I started laughing my ass off because I take your life points away. That was an ongoing joke, believe it or not, and it still goes. It's still going as an ongoing joke, and it's
Oh,
funny.
that's so funny.
Because when they said that, it made me laugh so hard because like every time I do tarot, I think, oh, whose life points am I taking away next? You know, because
Mhm.
like Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like life points is it's whatever. Anyway, okay, but yeah, tarot.
Didn't even have those back in
I
the day.
still, I mean, I hid the fact that like for a while, like only people who are close to me would know how spiritual I am, and you know,
Hmm.
not even my lovers knew. When that
Hmm.
one of them found out, and they told me I shouldn't do it anymore because their way because you know everyone's religious and they have their own views, and I kind of told them to shut up because that's who I am, and that was the only ex that knew besides nobody else, you know, and um, it's like sometimes like it was even hard to even explain how I would know things. Sometimes it's a quick yes or no. Like I remember there was somebody who was framed. It was one of my friends who was framed for fraud, and they were going to court. I was like, "What? Impossible! What? Why are you going to court for?" And he was like, "I was framed." And it's like, "You think I'm gonna win, or do you think I'm gonna lose?" I go, "No, you're gonna win. You know, I'm pretty sure you're gonna win because someone's gonna come out clean about what they did, and then you're gonna come out scot free because you did nothing wrong." And the next couple weeks, I didn't hear from him, and I thought my friend was gone. I got the call, and they were like, "I'm a free man," and that was weird because I just told him he'll be free, scot free, because you know you did nothing wrong. He didn't do nothing wrong. He just got caught up in the wrong time, wrong place, wrong area, like I told him. And I didn't have cards. No, it was off the top of my head. Sometimes in spirituality, and sometimes when I was growing up, I'd see things behind my eyes, back of my eyes. I'd see them, and they're like ongoing movie. It's like weird because I'm looking at people, but I can see it through the back of my eyes, and it's a little freaky too as a kid growing up like that, because you're like, huh, I feel like I was there in that story you told me. I kind of felt like, was that lady wearing this? Was that lady wearing that? You know, and they're like,
Right.
yeah,
Well, it's crazy when you're able to identify certain pieces by using tarot, or even being using your gifts, like your gifts and abilities that and have. Um, Speaking of utilizing tools, Sage, for people that are burning herbs and spices, whether it's juniper or cedar sage or sweetgrass or palo santo or California sage or maybe sage, I mean frankincense, whatever the case may be. Just be careful when you start and you purchase your very first bundle. The first thing you're going to want to probably end up doing of natural habit is burning from the bundle, the end of the bundle. You are burning from the end of the bundle. Everything is made of energy. Energy is never created or destroyed. There's an actual scientific term behind what I'm saying. When you are trying to cleanse your space and clear out unwanted energy, and I'm not just talking about, okay, there's a haunted, maybe you just purchased a house and you need to burn sage because
Spooky
you
house.
feel like, no, this is not talking about that, negative or entities or low vibrational beings to be removed out of a place or a home by burning sage. I'm talking about just regularly, actively, maybe once a month or every other week or however often you need to do it, depending on how stagnant the energy is. How to cleanse and clear your space, or either where you spend the most time in, or your home, wherever you are, and how to do it correctly. For me, I'm just clearing my space and cleansing unwanted energy that's been stagnant. Maybe I've had anxiety really bad the past week, or maybe there was some arguments in the home and we wanted to release that energy out of the home. Maybe there was sick loved ones or children within the home and we wanted to raise the vibration or something. I'm just throwing examples out there. Okay. You purchasing your bundle, whatever bundle of choice you are wanting to purchase. And whether that's in resins might be a little different, and we might be able to talk about that later on. The way to burn that and utilize that too. With bundles and sage and all the different sages in the bundles that you can purchase, you want to make sure that you're not burning from the one end of the bundle, because what ends up happening when you're trying to release energy and you're lighting the end of the bundle, when the smoke starts to travel from the tip of the bundle outwards when you are burning and waving the smoke around in your space or around your space or wherever it is that you're trying to cleanse and clear. What you're doing is you're actually activating that energy back into the bundle, because the smoke will travel back into the bundle, especially when you're burning it from one side. If you're trying to release energy and you go to light the end of the bundle, that's where that energy is traveling back into the bundle. Smoke is going backwards, right? So when you are done using your bundle and you trickle some water and actually try to put smoke out after you're done clearing and cleansing the space, when you go to relight that bundle again, after you just got done using it to cleanse your space, you're actually almost releasing the same stagnant or unwanted energy that you initially tried to remove. Now you're actually spreading that within your realm of space. You have to be mindful of how you're burning spices or sage, whatever the case. It's always good to maybe break off chunks of the bundle instead of lighting the one end of the bundle. Taking chunks of that, however much you want, and maybe sprinkle it into a bowl or an abalone shell, whatever your choice of object is. And then lighting chunks of your sage in that abalone shell or the bowl. That way it is not traveling, the energy is not traveling back inwards, it's going out. From inwards, it's going outwards. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody, because I wasn't even aware of this until I have a friend and she's a medium. So I consider myself a medium now because of the fact that I had many different experiences that I didn't even know I had the capability of doing. So now that I've actually realized that I had that ability. But if anybody has questions about that, you can definitely reach out to me or Logan. Um, there's many different things you can utilize to cleanse your space.
Yeah, I mean, like you told me everything about that, and that kind of made me like, you know what? I knew it. I knew I was doing something wrong. When basically what you told me was, you know what? You can just like you just said was you have a bundle of sage, any kind, doesn't matter. You can have like 5 million bundles of sage, and you can pick five, right? Desert sage, juniper. You can pick blue sage, California sage, and what
Mhm.
you would do is unravel it and take chunks off of it, and you can break it within your fingers and just place it inside the bowls, and then you would like so light it, and then you would cleanse your home. And it's because you don't want that negativity to go back up the sage, because you're trying to expel out negativity. So you would just sprinkle or have enough broken apart to put in the shell, put in the bowl, or whichever tool or instrument you're using to cleanse your home. And that whole bowl would be um, your way of cleansing your space, your area. And sometimes you might go back for like a second bowl or two, to make sure you got everything. And sometimes everything in one bowl can basically do the whole house.
Mhm. Exactly. Yep.
And that works.
Um,
I use
so
different things.
keep
Uh,
going. I'm listening.
oh,
Sorry.
okay, 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 okay. Ooh,
I
I
didn't mean to.
no, you're good. I use different things. I lost train of thought. That's all. I was like, huh. So I
Oh,
use
sorry.
No, it's okay. It's not your fault. I got into like the Tibetan bowls. So when I do it now, I just use spices. I use herbs. I use a mixture of things. But what I use now is resins. And I mean, people when you of course you use charcoal. You need charcoal to use the resins. I, however, do another step and pound the resins into powder and use that for cleansing only purposes.
Okay.
And frankincense, myrrh, myrrh, right? I think it's myrrh.
I but yeah,
And that one's actually pretty strong. Like I used to
both
have,
they're both very powerful
they make
in
it makes your
especially
room smell
fragrances.
very powerful. It's weird because like um I used to have like the one I had Jesus' face on the bag, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
oh dang, that must be that powerful then, because it can expel out evil, but also they're both frankincense and Miriam calls upon spirits to come guide you as well. And I would notice the difference between the room I cleansed versus the things that will come towards me, which was weird. And it felt more secure, more safe, but more thicker. Like the area around me is not even a bad thickness either to the energy. It's like there's something there, but it's something very nice. It's a familiar that you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do want to talk about how we attract negative energy and negative people towards us because of who we are. And everyone has to be mindful. You have to be mindful on who you pick up, you know, because people in general are always in for your, like, the good for you. You may attract negative people because you are a magnet for them.
Such a bright light. When we, this is a light worker, like I said, it's not all rainbows and butterflies, right?
No.
There's also the bad aspects of being a light worker and healer. You have to be readily available to take on any challenge, any hurdle, any energy vampire, any negative entity, any low vibrational person. Um, all of it, all of it. Um, so, and I wouldn't say more so we attract. When you have such a bright light, people are drawn to that light. People will try to test that light. Will try to see how high vibrational you really are, how strong you really are. Right? But again, when we face our shadow side, we can even have near-death experiences, out-of-body experiences that really test every level and test our inner core to its fullest. It's reaching limit point. Well, I don't even think it's more so that they are drawn. They're like, it's almost a way to. We're always going to have to fight off something negative. My book, always, whether it's people, whether it's energy, whether it's low vibrational people, or all the above. So there's always going to be that aspect, right? But being able to identify that, interpret that, and how to work with situations like that, that's what we do every day. And actually, that's what we help other people do too. So when that happens, we have to be mindful of our energy and be protective of our um, and what we spend our focus into. That goes for other people too. Because
I
once
agree.
they find themselves closer in alignment with their selves and their purpose, I's blueprint and spirituality, and they are getting closer to fully successfully accomplishing their spiritual awakening, that's when the tests and all those tests start coming into play, right? People that want to latch on, they want to stick to that our energy and drain our energy and test our limits again. We adapt to that, continue to lick our wounds, and we keep going because that's what we signed up for. We can't just back out of something that we signed up for. Can't just say, no, I choose not to deal with that particular person or that vibrational individual. Can help them, can try to direct them as the light worker and healer that we are. Or can we even make sure that that's going to be successful? No. You have to leave it at that and you have to forward. That's exactly what we were meant to do. We're meant to continue to do.
I agree.
It's also another beautiful thing.
It is.
Begin to be selfless at that point. Literally begin to be selfless. People can kind of take it as how they see it. But that's kind of my identification of what I think be and how that is and how to transcend this experience in itself.
Yeah, and I agree. But we're gonna cut off the podcast here. Um,
That was a good place to end, anyways, don't you think?
I believe so too, and I enjoyed conversating with you about it, and I hope to see you in many more podcasts in the near future, as well with other people around us, and I hope everyone enjoyed it.
And I am ecstatic to know that I'm going to be working alongside of with you and by you as we continue to help people learn and grow and help awareness. And that vibration, like I said, soul family, soul tribe. So
And
this will not be the last.
no,
Thank you for letting me be a part of that. I greatly appreciate it.
of
Many
course,
blessings and good vibes to everybody.
and as well, everyone, you have be well and be safe, and stay in high vibrations. Until our next podcast, we love you all. Until next time.
Brother from another mother.
Soul sister from another mother too. We'll catch you guys next podcast. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.